I call this meeting to order. Mr. Soriano, please proceed with roll call.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Present.
Commissioner Rizzio,
Present.
Vice Chair Cross,
Present.
and Commissioner Lozano and Chairman Mitchell are both absent.
Okay, so prior to approval of the agenda, there's one thing I would like to discuss. So I know we've discussed panhandling at intersections and found it to be concerning.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Prior?
Chair, that item is not on the agenda.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, thank you. But recent further developments have been brought to my attention. No, I'm aware, just please let me finish. Have
Mr.
been
Chair,
brought-
the appropriate time to bring up these
no,
comments would
I-
be under Commissioner's reports.
It is, okay, please let me finish what I'm saying. Okay. It has been brought to my attention, further developments that I believe would justify adding an urgency item to the agenda. So we have the power to do so upon a 2/3 vote typically, but given absences, that would require a unanimous vote. I'm happy to state the relevant government code sections if you would like.
Mr. Chair, if I may, so the two findings that the Commission would have to make to add an urgency item on the agenda is that it came to the attention of the city or of the Commission after the posting of the agenda. The second finding is that action needs to be taken before the next regular meeting of the Commission. I don't believe that the Commission has those findings.
So my justifications for said findings would be the following. So there's been a recent increase in public safety threats, including recent incidents of aggressive panhandling at ATMs and drive-thrus, making recipients a captive audience. Number two, there's been increasing traffic disruption and related threats. We've seen a spike in complaints and outcry from residents and businesses, including likely during this meeting. There's increasing and continued economic impact on businesses. And then fifth, there's upcoming extreme weather conditions, raising concern for the health and safety of panhandlers. And then sixth, there's been reports of vans picking up and transporting panhandlers, prompting concerns over possible exploitation. And then seventh, current lack of enforcement mechanisms and responses, or there's a current lack of enforcement mechanisms and responses to effectively address these issues. And then eighth, an impending recess of multiple city bodies would make timely action at a later date unlikely, so it wouldn't be until September, so after the summer. And then the purpose of said emergency item would be to discuss and evaluate the extent of these concerns and whether they necessitate a special meeting. So now I'm going to pass it to motion. Would anyone like to motion? So we would be adding an emergency item to the agenda upon finding that we all agree that it is an emergency or would necessitate an emergency response.
Members of the Commission, I would strongly caution the Commission on this. This would be a potential Brown Act violation.
This is allowed under the Brown Act. I would be happy to cite the Brown Act. So California Code, section 54954-2, notwithstanding subdivision A, the legislative body may take action on items of business not appearing on the posted agenda under any of the conditions stated below. Prior to discussing any item pursuant to this subdivision, the legislative body shall publicly identify the item. One, upon a determination by a majority vote of the legislative body that an emergency situation exists, as defined in section 54956.5, and then that section states an emergency situation would constitute an emergency which shall be defined as a work stoppage, crippling activity, or other activity that severely impairs public health, safety, or both, as determined by a majority of the members of the legislative body. Now, given absences, it wouldn't require a supermajority, but a unanimous vote.
I move that we table this issue until our next regular meeting.
Okay. In response, I would like to call a special meeting
Mr. Chair, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Oh, yes, forgive me. Is there a second to the motion?
Well, I would just like to know what hard data that you have on this right now.
So
this
I've
instance.
received recent reports that were brought to my attention that the situation is worsening. And if it's not acted on now, it will not be acted on for months.
But what data do we have to show that it's worsening besides what we're hearing and hearsay and so on and so forth?
Well, that would be data if we're receiving increased complaints.
Is there any, do we have anything in the agenda as far as the police department reports? Have they been
That
called
I'm
out
aware of,
or-
no.
Okay.
But I've received complaints of panhandling outside of ATMs recently, which is incredibly concerning to me. I think that would pose a safety issue. Also in drive-throughs. And then prior commission foundings have found that would make them a captive audience. There's increasing disruptions, and then increasing and continued economic impact on businesses. And I've received reports of vans picking up and transporting these panhandlers around. So I know we've kind of talked about mainly issues related to traffic prior, and I feel that these developments would necessitate an urgency item.
Well, I don't want to second it without hard data. You
Mhm.
know, I want to be able to see, you know, the calls that have been made, that have been, you know, if there's been any fines issued or any abatement made by the police department to
Mhm.
get them to stop doing what they're doing.
Okay,
So I think there's all those mechanisms in place that need to be addressed.
okay, yeah, I
And
understand
I
that.
understand that panhandling is very annoying around here and has been going on for a long time.
Okay, I agree completely, and so I think
So
it
that
would be
way we have a good
appropriate.
presentation and a good, strong agenda to do something about it.
Yeah, so I have plans in place, and I understand why adding an emergency item could be controversial. So what we could do instead is call a special meeting, and I would have authority to do that. So I would like to schedule a special meeting for next Thursday, so June 20th at 6 p.m. And then we can discuss this later, and then that would provide more time for public comment. Okay, and then clerk, please note that a special meeting has been scheduled for June 20th at 6 p.m. Concerning this topic. So,
Do you have consent of the chair?
I'm the acting chair.
Okay. We'll discuss this offline. Thank you.
Okay, so the topics of the special meeting shall be general discussion related to panhandling, the related municipal codes, enforcement, and then potential signage.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Again, this item is not on the agenda, and there cannot be
I
lengthy discussion.
understand it's not on the agenda. I have authority to call a special meeting, and I have done so. Yes, I do. I'm the acting chairperson and have authority to call a special meeting.
Okay, and you do not give me direction.
City staff works at the direction of commissions and council members. Okay, I would now like to move to public comment for any items that
Mr. Chair,
aren't-
the next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Yes, thank you for the correction. All right, I would like to...
I move that we approve the agenda for June 13th, 2024.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second it. Just do your homework.
Okay, the
Motion
motion...
passed.
uh,
I'm sorry, I'm the clerk. Motion passes with Commissioner Rizzio abstained.
Would you like to make a correction to the record?
No, I think I hit the wrong button.
Okay, would you rather have voted differently? Okay.
I will
so-
correct that on my end.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then I would now like to move to public comment for any issues or items, or any issues or topics that aren't on the agenda for today. Okay, so we have Brenda Alcaraz discussing the subject of homelessness and panhandling.
Can I start now?
Yes, give me one moment. At this time, pursuant to the Brown Act, any person may comment on matters of general interest. You first.
My name is Brenda Alcaraz. I am a city carrier here in Desert Hot Springs. I am in charge of delivering mail to the Vons Shopping Center. I have not done so for quite about a year now because there are so many panhandlers and homelessness there. I do not feel safe. As a small female, I have been physically attacked. I had to run to the Vons store to pretty much get away from the person. Now it's to the point where I leave that shopping center every day for a mail carrier or whoever feels that it is safe for them to carry that small area. I don't feel safe. I live in the city of Desert Hot Springs. I work in the city of Desert Hot Springs. I am very proud to say that I am a resident of Desert Hot Springs, but I do see that there are a lot of issues with homelessness and panhandlers.
Thank you very much. Are you finished?
Yes,
Okay, you may sit down.
thank you.
All right, are there any other public comments at this time related
Yes.
to items not on the agenda?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Lori Ramey. I'm a proud resident of Desert Hot Springs. I lived here 31 years. I own a home up Mission Lakes. I work here, I live here, and today I went to go to the Bank of America. I always have problems at the Bank of America. Trash outside and vomit outside the ATMs, or the ATMs don't work. But today I went to drive into the drive-thru and there was glass and trash. I have a picture if anyone wants to see it. An enormous amount of stuff blocking the drive-thru. And it was all in the whole area there. And I called Russell, messaged him, and it was taken care of. But it's ongoing at that bank area. And the light in the parking lot of Stater Brothers doesn't ever work for a year now. And with my eyes are 70 years old, and it's kind of hard to see when you pull up and there's no lights at all. And you're like, this, trying to see. And it's just, I don't know who to go to for that stuff. But the trash at the bank today was absolutely outrageous. It was all over. He said it was all needles and all kinds of stuff. It's just a homeless issue. They live at the bank. I know they got to live somewhere. It's an issue. But that trash today was a little bit much, but it was taken care of. But I just wanted to say that it goes on. And those people, the funeral people, panhandling money in the middle of the street, they are a safety hazard. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And just for future reference, you can always file a complaint or a call for service with code compliance here. And I'm sure they'd be happy to help you with a lot of that.
Okay. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, are there any more public comments at this time? All right, and then now we have Stephanie Martin discussing public utility easement and code rules.
Good evening, Safety Commission and the clerk and the city deputy manager. Hello, everybody, this evening. I would like to address an issue that I brought up actually last Tuesday, and Travis Clark did respond about something about how I went up to the counter. And yes, but for the public record, I would like everybody to be on the same page, and as far as the rules go and the code goes. So I noticed that there's nothing online as far as the city, like the code or the policies that have to do with the public utility easement. Okay, so like, I guess in the 50s, I think, the MSWD got the right-of-way for the easement in the last 5-foot portion of each of the properties around the, I guess they were called cabin lots at first. Okay, so what happens is that it creates like kind of an alleyway between houses, okay? And then, but because there's no like uniform rules online or anywhere else, people are kind of doing their own thing. Some people get, approved to do their own thing, and others are not approved to do their own thing. And it just seems, okay, where can we go online and agree with this, So anyways, so for example, I had an unfortunate issue with actually one of the police officers. We had a disagreement about this. Whose responsibility is the public utility easement? Is it my property? Is it not? it shouldn't be this way. That disagreement should be somewhere online where a resource, a primary document of sorts, preferably so we could go online and we don't have to sit there and debate and argue these matters. So anyways, yeah, I didn't also like how I was necessarily treated by the code over this ongoing issue I have with my neighbor. We have a disagreement, but nobody has a survey, so we can't, anyway, so that's out the window, I guess, for now. But anyways, yeah, I didn't get my due process. I got slapped with all these dang fines and then crossed out and then thrown out, and it's just, it was really an unnecessary hassle and stress for me personally. And again, if we could just have like a sanctified, not a sanctified, but like a streamlined way of doing business here all across the board, then I think a lot of the emotional upset and frustration that commonly occurs in this little small town can maybe be avoided and mitigated a little bit easier. Thank you so much for my time and your time as well. Good evening. Bye-bye.
All right, we are now going to move on to the code compliance monthly report. Okay, just one clarifying question to ensure that I understand you correctly. So you're concerned about the usage of easements or alleyways that Mission Springs Water District has the right of way on? Is that correct? Yes? Okay, thank you.
Can I see the documents? Can you hand them to Gerald? The documents that you have, so I can review them?
Mr. Chair, so under public comment, there really isn't any back and forth dialogue that is appropriate. Again, that's under the Brown Act. If the speaker has documents that she would like to present to the commission, I'd be happy to take them. But again, back and forth dialogue is discouraged.
Okay, I understand. And then also we are allowed to ask minor clarifying questions related to that. So I just want to make that clear as well.